But as we take a look, there's already a difference in how both teams are going to decide to move on out here. Second Gen going to be preferring to move out the Sombra setup. Phase 2 just going with standard 3-3. And look, we've said it many times here, when you're running a Sombra comp, it puts a lot of pressure on the Sombra player in particular.
You have to be getting those EMPs very quickly. Now, however, I think Shadows actually has been performed reasonably on the pass. We've seen him on the Sombra, so this really is on him, though, to get those EMPs.
Very much so. Phase 2 immediately taking presence in the point where, again, the power of Phase 2 here is that they can bully for a bit here. So long as Shadows doesn't have EMP, Phase 2 should be the stronger team, and they should be looking to just dive in the second gen.
Which is what they're doing right now.
Yeah, they're looking for King immediately. King under very heavy focus fire. Duplicate, though, going to be punishing Chrono Dota super early on here. So Phase 2, we'll see what they do, and it's just, they're going to take the first fight.
They picked up the point. I mean, they just put the focus into Chrono very early. Shadows getting forced back. Just now, there's going to be stagger kills coming out for Phase 2. Great read for them to do exactly as you talked about, ZP, where they run into the front line, they get that focus, and when there's no diva on the field for second generation, a lot less ability to eat that damage.
Now, the one thing that's not too bad here for second gen at a minimum, where even though they did get wiped there, Shadows able to get up to 65%, they need to just delay this and wait for the EMP.
Right now, Shadows still doing that poke. Phase 2, trying to hold this choke extremely aggressively. Pika is hacked. There's the grab out from Bitbop.
Well, the grab going to be coming out here. Shadows there at the cleanup. And more importantly for second gen, not only do they seize the opportunity off that grab, but they're able to save the EMP they have for the next fight. This really does shift the momentum of the game.
That was a really great read from second generation. Shadows gets the hack onto Pika, calls to his team, hey, Diva can't eat grab. So then Bitbop, who he's built that grab incredibly quickly at that, then is able to grab for free and get the cleanup on Phase 2.
So second gen, they get the setup here, and again, it still boils down to Shadows. Is he going to be able to set up a good EMP here? Can they set their economy as well? Graviton, bomb, moving in here from Phase 2, bomb to the back, doesn't connect. Second gen, already investing Transcendence here. Shadows, under pressure, was looking for a good EMP setup, ends up getting pushed back a bit. So Phase 2, still very much in this fight. Now looking to move forward. Shadows, though, goes in, drops the EMP, Shatter coming in from Chrono, and that's going to be enough.
Good job from Phase 2, or not from Phase 2, second generation to stay alive in that fight. Didn't even have to use Beat to survive the combo. They had the barriers up. Bitbob just keeping them alive there, along with that Transcendence from Eclipse. So now, second generation still holding the mid, still holding that control point, and they have another grab of their own.
And this is probably going to be the difference maker fight here, where Grav can be traded out for Transcendence, and Phase 2 going to have the Beat right after. How this fight goes down, likely going to decide the round. Phase 2 going to be moving forward, Duplicate leading the way, Earth Shatter in reserve.
There's the grab. Eden, though. Pika eats that grab. Here comes the hack onto Pika afterwards.
Duplicate,
but
so much room, just drops the Shatter in the back and knock down 3, and they're able to take down Sox immediately after that. So Phase 2 still making pretty reasonable room off that. King on the cleanup, and this is really big for Phase 2, where they should be able to retake the point, and now they'll be able to get back up in progress.
Still good delay for second generation. However, great eat from Pika there, because very importantly, they still got the trance out of Phase 2. But in return, it set up all the space for Duplicate to get that Shatter, get the cleanup for Phase 2.
The one thing that's pretty good here for second gen is that not only do they have 75%, but Shadows can build an EMP in this next fight.
He has 80%.
Yeah.
Faz needs to not get hacked here. He can't get caught. Shadows down that backline. Fighting Faz, actually. They're having the 1v1. Forces Shadows to retreat, so good job from Faz.
Yeah, Faz is able to force a retreat, but Shadow's also building a lot of EMP up there. Meanwhile, back in the main fight, grab for Transcendence out. Phase 2, gonna layer in the self-destruct, find Sox immediately here. And Phase 2, now in a much better spot. Off the early pickoff, Pika making plenty of room, and this is gonna come down to one last fight here for second gen and trying to retake. And again, it all circles around Shadows.
And I mean, Pika, that was a great defensive bomb. We see it a lot where you don't have a lot of ults available in the tank to keep you alive. But it was King getting the bash onto Sox that allowed the pick to happen. So really good read from King following up from Pika.
Second gen going to be moving in here one last time. Very early EMP coming out from Shadows.
Early.
The rest of his team wasn't there. So, okay, Phase 2, they overcommit by layering in the support ults here, but why would you EMP that early? The only thing I could think of is that Shadows was under pressure, just panics, drops EMP, but it's not a great early opening. Still winnable here for second gen. It's 4-on-4, Transcendence going to be invested. They're coming back into the fight looking for the last bit pickoff, and again, might actually work out, but this was sloppy.
They have to get out for the rest of Phase 2. I mean, they've lost the fight. Phase 2 needs the back. Onyx should keep his energy alive. He's close to grab. Pika relatively close to the bomb. So they have options. They do have options, but extremely early EMP from Shadow, still getting value because he forced that double support ult.
All right, so 85% to 99. Going to be coming down to one last fight here. Onyx, Graviton set up.
Not a lot in the tank for second gen, approaching that EMP, but it's really just the beat.
Well, they use Grav immediately. They isolate Bitbop. The beat from the other side, not enough to actually keep him up. So phase 2, working with the early man advantage. You don't have to worry about the Grav on the other side. And they just move forward. Duplicate on the cleanup, 99 to 99. And this is looking like phase 2 should be able to get this round, and they do. But wait, that was weird.
Felty was in the air. Felty was in the air.
It was in the air, but was it even just being in the air just a little bit? That was...
So they weren't able to contest. Also, Pika body blocked Eclipse there. He pops the trance, and Pika body blocks Eclipse, so he's unable to touch the point as well. So good read, and that's sort of the problem with running Sombra comp sometimes is you have to be getting lots and lots of value from your EMP. You have to be winning fights all the time. Second generation did a pretty solid job, but phase 2, really, at the end of the day, when you get down to that 99-99 scenario and you don't have EMP up, phase 2 is just going to run over the front line in second gen.
So second gen, this is going to be an interesting setup should they decide to go with it. I mean, we know Shadows plays a pretty good Widow and can make it work, but again, target-wise, not going to have a ton of ideal targets here. I think for him, it's about finding sight lines on Nishik early on. This
is really going to be how they enable Shadows. How they enable Shadows to get that value, because there isn't going to be that traditional dive from second generation. They do have the Hammond, but it's not the same as your Winston Diva where you just run on top of a target and just bulldoze them, though it is possible if they coordinate very well with Sox and Bibbob.
Well, phase 2 already going to be going for a few swaps of their own, deciding to put Onyx over the McCree. Interesting in terms of the reaction here, what second gen is running.
I mean, Nishik on the Mora, harder to dive, a little bit more mobile. Onyx able to contest those squishy heroes, that Hammond a little bit more, take the duel, but really it's risky to take a duel as McCree versus Widow.
Yeah, and generally speaking, Widow v McCree is something that it's very favored for the Widow. It makes Onyx's job in staying alive a lot harder. Duplicate just isolated out, chunked down by Shadows, and Shadows has so much room to work with. He can hit the Moira, he can grab the McCree. He's gonna have a Diva in his face here, but this to a degree is a very good setup for a Widow, so long as he can make a little bit of room away from the Diva.
Yeah, but there is going to be the burst.
Onyx
getting two so far off of the stun from the first kill from Chronodata. So now, second generation had to back up. They still haven't been able to contest the point, which is the problem. Second gen, they're playing this composition, but they can't touch point. And now, making some swaps. I think they'll keep the Sombra since Bitbob is 88% to that EMP. Yeah, so they have to get a lot of value here.
Generally speaking, you don't want to throw away the EMP, even though the H key is often stronger than the Q key. In
this case, you can use the Q key and then swap.
So second gen going to be rolling back over at Bitbop, looking for West the EP. Early Deadeye coming out from Onyx and catches Felty. Felty can't get away. Onyx, though, still in a bad spot, ends up falling phase
late
2.
EMP, but the health's so bad for second generation. Eclipse still alive. If Eclipse stays alive in this fight, the longer it runs, the better it is for second generation. Though saying that, Bitbop dies.
Well, the thing here is that if you start trading out, it also lets phase 2 just stagger to a degree. Like, phase 2 is still in control of the point. They're still getting progress all the way forward. So in the end, doesn't work out for second gen, and going back to the entire Q key versus H key, Bitbop should be looking to swap here.
Yeah, Bitbop, he's making the swap. Actually, there's no way he's going to be going Hammond. The triple dive tank? Or it's not even triple dive tank, really. I think he'll be making the swap on the Diva himself, yes. He will. Phase 2, though, making the right plays there, because I talked about how the longer the fight ran, the better it was for Eclipse on second generation, but phase 2 just engaged into them with the rally.
In second gen, they're just going to go face here. They are going to immediately go on the point. Just kind of rolling the phase 2. Phase 2, though, Pika lays a self-destruct all the way to the top, gets Shadows immediately, man advantage of phase 2, and this round here might be ending with more of a whimper than a bang. 6 on 5 for phase 2. Second gen trying to commit on in. Duplicate, a little bit of disruption here on the phase 2 side. Phase 2 still working on man advantage. Barrier invested. Barrier coming back here the other way for second gen. Phase 2. Need to give up a little bit more space here, and
second generation in a decent spot right now. Sock's gonna have the rally. Shadows close to grab.
Chrono's in a rough spot though. He's getting isolated on the other side. Zarya beam directly at him. Chrono out of the fight. But the self-destruct from Bitbop gonna find Duplicate. Was able to build it up within the course of this fight. 5 on 5 now. Second generation still fighting. Gonna drop the Graviton in. But again, it's very back and forth right now. Bitbop and Shadows down. Phase 2 recontesting back onto the point. Graviton in here from Onyx. Focus Fire coming in. Transcendence mitigating quite a bit of it for second gen. And both sides back and forth. Pika now throwing the self-destruct to the top. Gets absolutely nothing.
Well, I mean, it splits Bitbop and actually allows the pick-up.
So it works out at the very end. Phase 2 retaking. And now the fight breaks down at the end, phase 2 ending up holding. It's going to be, in the end, a 2-0 for phase 2.
Phase 2 looking extremely dominant there, realistically. I think that second generation had some of the right ideas and how they wanted to execute shadows on the Sombra. They made the right swaps as well, but they just didn't get value out of the Sombra play overall.
No.
Was the problem. They had a good idea, but they just could not follow up on it.
I mean, what we've seen with Sombra play is that it pretty much has to be very decisive between not only the Sombra but also the team itself, right? Where the team has to be very good at disengaging, not giving up free fights just because, you know, Sombra's off trying to build EMP and then you just get dived on. Meanwhile, also, I mean, the Sombra itself has to be playing at a high level and just building EMP quickly, and it's very easy for it to fall apart and not actually give you the momentum that you're looking for.
And they weren't able to get any of the momentum. I mean, phase 2, constantly winning those frontline duels, constantly just running over, a lot of the times running over the tank line for second generation. So really you need to make those swaps a little bit earlier if you aren't getting the value out of Sombra that you need.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. But we are going to be heading into our hybrid map here. Phase 2, we'll see if they can keep the momentum going forward. Second gen, you know, again, still working out some troubles here where the interesting thing that we've seen in terms of trends as well is that when teams like running Sombra, they will generally try and run it across the board and not just isolate it to one map. It's sort of...
It's often almost a sign that a team isn't comfortable playing the standard 3-3.
No.
They would rather stick with the Sombra. I mean, we even see it in Overwatch League. So if you're not feeling confident in your 3-3 matchup, you try to use the Sombra a lot, especially if you have a really good Sombra player, then you'll try to force the hero often. But the problem is, against phase 2, where arguably probably their strongest component is duplicate, and it has been even since previous iterations, you really need that frontline presence. You need something to stop duplicate running wild. And
duplicate's had a very good game here so far. I mean, multiple times where, granted, I would say that it was sort of opportunities given to him. I don't think he had to work as hard for it as you'd expect, but if you're going to give him setups where he can just walk forward and shatter 3 people in the back, he's going to take them.
Now moving on to King's Row, our second map of the series. Another map that I feel like phase 2 we're going to feel very confident on, because it's once again going to revolve around the strategy of just, let's give duplicate resources.
Yeah.
Let's give duplicate resources. Let's do what we can do. Let's set up Pika, who's been having a much more consistent couple of games so far in this contender season, I think, than last. So really, they're going to be looking to just get value out of their D.Va, out of their Ryan.
And for phase 2 also, when you're running a stronger 3-3 and you're not really having the resort to changing things up a whole lot, as you go to King's Row, you just continue the run until it's proven that the other side can actually deal with it in a convincing manner.
Just waiting for both teams now to get in, to get ready for the prepare your defenses, assemble your heroes, essentially. Second generation going to be here on the offense first, phase 2 on the defense. And I wouldn't be surprised to see second gen actually, oh wait, no, reverse, right? No, I wasn't reversed. I'm right. Second generation is on the offense. Sometimes the colors mess with my eyes.
So right now, second gen, unless they swap everything last moment, does not look like they're going to be going for a 3-3-7.
I'm not surprised. I think it's just going to be some early poke, and then you can see double sniper, even the Pharah now, going to be out. It's going to be neat on that Pharah.
And again, I mean, we've seen Shadows do good work before, but phase 2, you have to think to a degree that it's more comfortable for them. They get to continue to run 3-3 here, and it's going to be a big game of delay.
And remember, Eclipse is on the Junkrat here, too, as well as EP. They don't even have the Zenyatta. They don't have that Discord presence. It's all spam with Eclipse, trying to take this high ground, trying to drop those Junkrat mines, all that fire damage into the shield.
And the goal here is you just want to wear down phase 2. Phase 2, meanwhile, just trying to survive, get delayed. But Pika, going to get D-Mex super early on here. Comes at a cost, Bitbop out of the fight.
I think that's a good trade.
It is. It's very good for second gen, where the entire thing of 3-3 is that once you lose one part, you tend to get worn down. Bitbop going to get res. So second gen working on strong 6-on-5. Phase 2 just unable to really get much going here. And the heavy DPS opening from second gen going to be doing enough here to likely take point A without a whole lot of trouble.
It's just cleanup right now. There's not enough sustain, especially since Nishik went down there. There's no Zenyatta on the field. The focus fire isn't going to be strong enough. Bitbop goes down again, but it's really over. I wouldn't be surprised for second generation to stay on this comp even through second, since Eclipse almost has Tire.
I mean, Tire is one of those interesting things where it's so incredibly strong in terms of winning a fight outright that it's rare to see teams just throw it away for getting a better comp. So I tend to agree. He's going to stay on it here and then just swap.
They'll stay for one fight. I mean, they also have that EMP phase 2 as well, making some swaps. Pika going on to the Sombra instead of that D.Va, which is a pretty interesting. They're early EMP.
It's a super early EMP. They dive very
There's no follow-up at all.
Yeah, Onyx, though, gonna fall. So Heat is still there. They get one off of it. I don't know how much.
But Boger commits his life.
Yeah, I don't know how much they actually get from this in the end of it, because they still have to go back and push a payload. They've only had one out the entire time. Eclipse off the tire gets one. If nothing else, it's putting FaZe 2 a little bit off balance with how aggressive they're being.
I mean, Felty's able to get the res. It's not like that Boger wouldn't be back very quickly anyway, since he is on Hammond. However, I don't know if using the EMP that early was the right play, considering that FaZe 2 still has, you know, both their support ults coming up too. They do have one, and they have plenty of time to take another fight.
It's been a little bit awkward, to be sure. Neat, though, can drop the barrage super aggressively right in their face. Shadows, meanwhile, in the back, looking for pickoffs, but Neat gives up his life for nothing. Transcends for FaZe 2, going to be keeping them reasonably healthy in that fight. Onyx and Pika both get...
Felty isolated!
Felty gets caught, yeah! Felty out immediately, and second gen just very discombobulated there.
Yeah, Neat, he goes for the barrage off the mines from Boger, but the problem is Nishik still had that trance, and you're not going to be able to kill most things through trance if the bubbles are still alive for Onyx, which it was. So he gets cleaned up. Felty isolated on the high ground, no one to run to, gets also cleaned up there. So FaZe 2 holding, they're going to be close to the grab, going to have their EMP of their own very soon.
Meanwhile, Shadows, it's been a decent amount of Widow pressure here, not a whole lot in terms of pickoffs. I mean, just like a Widow on the field in general dictates how you have to go about sightlines, so it's still effective. It gives the Pharah here more room to really work with, but we'll see what happens where Pharah, again, rotating around. They haven't swapped from it yet. Heavy pressure on the duplicate in FaZe 2, just continually getting pushed back here.
Pika has that EMP. They're going to be looking to use this very soon as Onyx is down. He goes for the grab, too.
Shadows from work with FaZe 2. Plenty of sightlines here for him where, okay, Reinhardt going to go in there, block a little bit more, but second gen, they can start isolating this. Duplicate, though, dropping the shatter, gets Felty of all people. The one time you touch the ground is mercy.
Denying the res. Felty was going for that res. Denies it, though. Pika now down. Second generation still moving the point, slowly but surely, but they just don't have any sustain. They don't really have anyone to contest the cart.
Well, and that's the key here, is that you're running a whole bunch of DPS. At some point, someone has to touch the objective, but when they touch the objective, they're going to be touching Duplicate's hammer as well.
And now in this fight, if second generation want to commit, they need to combo this barrage with the EMP. Both support ults are up for FaZe 2, so BitBob will have to catch both supports if he wants to get value. You can see Faz hiding.
Well, he goes back, he gets...
Saves
he doesn't get Faz.
Great beat.
Faz was right there, immediately beats. FaZe 2 totally healthy. Nishik now going to be able to transcend right away. FaZe 2 still totally fine. The barrage from second gen not going to be doing a whole lot there. And FaZe 2 continuing to endure, continuing to buy time, but as this is going on, Shadows finds Nishik, able to get the sidelines there. Boger moving in with the minefield, and with 2 early pickoffs, this is still pretty good for second gen.
Those mines are so strong right now. They were completely locking off the right side of the cart, doing so much damage to FaZe 2. Good mindful from Boger, and eventually second generation just outlasted FaZe 2 there. They don't, as long as Boger's alive, they have one person to touch, and they force the support ults with the EMP. And also they were having, you know, had the support ults of their own and just had the ability to rotate around the cart, play around the lines.
So second gen, 3 minutes left in point C. Not the absolute fastest entry into it, but something that could be quick if they're able to win in the next few fights. Shadows, he's positioning here in the Widow. Again, just looking for an early pickoff.
A much better point here for Widow as well.
Yes.
Second point, it's tough to get those sightlines. Third, you have a lot of high ground, a lot of sightlines.
And right there, free shots on the Zen. He could have hit that there, just not able to connect, but the opportunity is certainly there. Meanwhile, just turns, gets King as FaZe 2 decides to move in, and Shadows with 2.
Shadows
Make it
with
3! Shadows, you cannot ignore a Widow here.
And while it's happened, you see FaZe 2 try to go to point, try to use the grab from Onyx to get the cleanup, but it's really tough to catch anyone from second generation in this comp with the grab. Boger swinging around, getting 2 picks. Shadows gets fast, and he goes for the contest. Shadows, sort of a madman right now.
And FaZe 2, I mean, their real strategy to deal with Shadows has been, well, just ignore the Widow and it'll be fine.
I think when you're playing against this comp, especially on last, they need to make it swaps. They need to be getting off this composition, the 3-3.
Well, and that's why we're going to be seeing Pika go to Diva here to try and get in his face. People get those down immediately. Shadows, again, so much room to work with, just dumps on Faz. And this has been a Widow clinic here on point C. The barrage is going to make it absolutely clean towards the end. And even with Neat dying there, more than enough. And FaZe 2 did not handle point C there.
The craziest part about that last shot onto Faz was getting the flank onto Eclipse. Could have potentially won that 1v1, and it's essentially he peeled for Eclipse there as Widow. So great shots from Shadows. I mean, we've seen his play before on these hit scan heroes. He's had a great impact. It's more of the problem is that this is not a meta for hit scan players right now. You're really playing a lot more 3-3 centric, and especially on the patch that we're on, which is we're not currently on live patch. We're still on the old patch to retain consistency.
Yeah, of course, it is exciting to know that playoffs will be on the Chaos. That will be the Baptiste patch, or so we think. Right now, we're thinking it's trending more towards Chaos, but for all we know, by the time we get there, it could settle into something that is pretty close to what we've been seeing. We don't know, but the odds that you're going to get significant change pretty high. Either way, Shadows finding a lot of room to work with there on point C, and second gen looking better on King's Row here than they did a map ago, but part of that is that they were able to make a non-3-3 setup work.
Which is interesting considering King's Row is one of the most tank-favored maps in the game, and second generation have made... There's really only two, I would say, teams in history that have made these interesting setups work. Maybe 3 if you count Element Mystic as well, but like in recent times it's like Selfless and Rogue that were just refused to play what was considered mostly, well, I guess Rogue sort of met the meta with the triple DPS, but King's Row always a map you played a lot of tanks on, and those teams were teams that strayed away from that. The second generation are actually making it work here as well.
So let's see if they can make it work here on the defense. They're going to be running with a Sombra, and again, pressure is on Shadows here to build EMP quickly. You know, if you can get an early hack and maybe get something going, that's fine, but that's sort of a bonus, right? The goal is second gen need the delay while EMP is being built.
You see phase 2 though, they're just taking this very fast engagement. They catch Boger. Faz goes down for it, but I think that's a solid trade as long as they keep Nishik alive, which he does not.
Well, that's extremely worthwhile here. Nishik, okay, he's down, supports for phase 2 are out of it, but they're going to be back up soon, and now there's nothing to really block for second gen here. It's going to be unmitigated poke damage coming in. Duplicate even just going forward, leveraging the fact that, hey, we have a shield, you don't.
He has a very early rally as well.
Yeah, phase 2, they're all back on the point now. Rally going to be invested in second gen. They have to give up room, and Shadow's at 41%. Not going to be getting EMP in time here.
I think they're going to try to contest, though. Eclipse is so close to this Transcendence. There it is, keeping Boger alive.
Transcendent, phase 2, they're a little bit lower on the support ult just because they got picked off early. The one edge for them. Graviton in, Rally out here for second gen. King unable to sustain, and second gen still with the possibility of bringing this fight back just because of the early support ult advantage.
Now, it's going to be stabilization for second generation, getting these stagger kills. Faz and Pika going to be going down last. Still a lot of cap time for phase 2. They will have both support ults coming up very soon. No grab, though. Bitball a little bit ahead. So second generation have to feel confident considering Shadows is 92% to EMP.
No, I think that worked out great for second generation, where, again, the key crux there was that phase 2, because both supports get picked early, they're unable to actually have support ult to match the pressure coming in from second gen, and now Shadows has had time to build EMP.
And if phase 2 want to stay in this fight, they need either Faz or Nishik to not get caught by this EMP.
So again, it's all down the Shadows. Coming in off the flank, drops the EMP, and Faz right on it, dropping the barrier. Nishik, oh, Duplicate gets caught, so they don't want to learn support ults, but at the same time, they just end up getting rolled over. Good barrier or no?
The thing is, though, with the EMP used there, and a lot of the resources going just to get Duplicate out of the fight, even though Bitbob has this grab, there is no cleanup. There's no follow-up for second generation here since they don't have a D.Va, they don't have an EMP. So phase 2 have to feel confident that they can survive the grab and then repush.
Holding back here, Graviton ready. Very early barrier coming in here from second gen as they move forward, but they use it to catch Duplicate, and they didn't even have to invest the grab, so that still works out for second gen. And again, more importantly here, as they're able to use ults to catch out Duplicate, Shadow's at 62%. He's been building EMP very efficiently.
Smart moves from second generation here, realizing that once they traded the grab, I mean, they would still have to bunny hop support ults with phase 2. So use Felty's beat aggressively, get one pick, continue to build EMP.
Now this should be phase 2's fight. They have overwhelming power moving in. Onyx gonna open up here with the early grab, self-destruct in from Pika, catches Neat. So man advantage here already. Transcendence faded for second gen. They're out of support ults, and Onyx charged up. This is where we can make a lot of pressure happen. And even as the EMP comes out from Shadows here, phase 2, they're getting low, but they're able to back out, resustain, reinforcements are going to be coming in. So still a fight they can win.
Getting Bitbob, though, there's a lot of damage off the field right now for second generation. No EMP. They're going to catch Felty as well. Phase 2 sitting on the point. Duplicate full health. So really, it's just going to be a cleanup now. A long fight for first, so a good defense for second generation.
If you're second gen, you're feeling pretty happy about how all of that went down. Now, the only downside for them is that they are a little bit drained looking the second. It's going to be at least one fight before Shadows can EMP again.
It will. They are getting close to their grab, also close to his Transcendence here. So in these scenarios, they look to get the grab, get one support ult out of phase 2, or even use one of the support ults early, aggressively to get a support ult, and then have the EMP for the next fight. That is what second generation's sort of plan in the future will be.
Phase 2, meanwhile, is focusing on the payload duplicate, moving forward. Earthshatter going to be coming up from second gen, and Bogart does not really get what he's looking for. In phase 2, they're going to invest. Early barrier on Nishik, desperately trying to build up Transcend in the middle of the fight, builds Transcendence up, grab is in, but Nishik can immediately transcend. The hammer coming down from duplicate, Bogart out of the fight. And phase 2 just barely building up enough time for this fight. Man advantage is theirs, and cleanup should be as well.
Neat deciding to commit the rally as well in that fight very late. There are already players down for second generation. So an interesting usage. The staggers, though, are going to be pretty bad. Luckily, Shadows can get back quickly. The EMP is almost up for second generation, and they got 2 support ults out of phase 2 in Streets.
And the thing is, for phase 2 as well, they're under a lot of time pressure. They have to make up here on second. Second gen could still come in with the EMP and win. If they take the next fight, it's going to be do or die for phase 2.
Second generation are here. Shadows at 94%. Felty's got the beat. They need to touch cart.
Early grab coming in. Pika self-destruct over and
Strong
nowhere
beat.
near the mark. The self-destruct very far back. Here comes second generation. They drop the EMP. They're looking to charge back in. King and Duplicate gone. And this is exactly what second gen was looking for. And I just have to rewind a bit here. What happened with Pika's self-destruct there?
It was just, they had barriers up. That was really it. Bitbob recognized that we need to save barriers. Also, Felty hit the pixel perfect beat, as we like to call, where if you put beat at the exact right time, you can keep your tanks alive through combos. And his beat went out perfectly, and the D.Va Bomb wasn't able to get any frags onto the Ryan, specifically onto Boger.
Final minute now for phase 2. Second generation looking to even up the series, and they're very well suited to do that right now.
If they can get this grab, get Nishik's Trance out, then they can actually potentially walk forward, build up their EMP and their Transcendence.
So they're setting up Shadows in the back, already 63%. Second gen staying on the high ground right now. And I mean, key here for Shadows, don't get picked off! He gets picked off!
Well, you give him the caster curse.
Oh, now it's 6 on 5. The EMP threat not going to be there. Still winnable for second gen. They opened up with the grab, answered by the Transcendence. King down, taken down by Burst in the middle of that here. So phase 2, working the 5v5.
Great shatter for Boger!
The shatter knocking down 2 in second gen. In a very good spot here, despite the early pickoff in the Shadows.
I don't think
able to fight
phase 2 can win this. Faz has the beat. He can keep phase 2 remaining members alive on the point for a while, but it's really just cleanup for second generation.
Second gen, more than enough there towards the end. They had an ult advantage to start out with, but they use it properly. The series now evened up 1-1.
Really good job from second generation. The Sombra play looking much better.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, more importantly, they recognize their win conditions even better than they did on Control. They knew when they needed to take the fights, how fast they needed to take them, and also using their support ults, using their grabs aggressively when possible to force out support ults from phase 2 and get more value out of your EMPs.
And not only that, but you take a look on the other side there for phase 2, right, where when you're up against a Sombra comp, you have to be incredibly decisive, where not only do you pressure the Sombra when she's out there, but you need to take advantage of times where, okay, Sombra's now translocated out, or we know she's not in a position to effectively harass. What do you do there? You immediately dive in aggressively. You isolate. You take advantage of the fact that you have more punching power until they get EMP, and you didn't really get that sense from phase 2 over most of the
No, which is weird considering they had that. I felt that in terms of their aggression and how they were being, punishing the front line for second generation was extremely strong on Oasis, on Control. But on King's Row, which is even more naturally inclined towards tanks in that 3-3 setup, it seemed to be lacking at times.
Which, again, is weird because when you're a team that's good at 3-3, King's Row is generally where you should be showing that, is your home ground, so to speak. But, again, it didn't really happen there for phase 2. It was a bit sloppy in execution. And look, if you're going to be running up against that comp, plain and simple, you need to be setting the tone of the game, and it didn't quite happen there. And, of course, as we said on the other side, second gen played pretty well with what they were trying to run with.
For sure. I think they just overall looked just great. But we're gonna be going to break. We are at our halftime here, so we're gonna be here Guys, just wait it for us. We'll be right back.